Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Now, as India celebrates the 129th birth anniversary of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, one would have hoped that today would have been all about celebrating Children's Day. Because after all, Pandit Nehru's birth anniversary has always been marked for the children as Children's Day. But sadly so, there's been nothing else but politics which has been circulating around the birth anniversary of Pandit Nehru. One would have hoped that there would have been some commonality by now when it come down to India's first Prime Minister and its 14th Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru and Mr. Modi. But none seems to be possible right now.
71 years after independence and just months ahead of the 2019 elections, a full-blown war on Jawaharlal Nehru's legacy. From NDA government scrapping the planning commission, which was a symbol of Nehru's economic legacy, to the decision to wrest control of the Nehru Memorial Museum. Congress claims that the NDA wants to sideline the legacy of Nehru. And to prove it further, just a day before the 129th birth anniversary of India's first Prime Minister, Sonia Gandhi launched a hard-hitting attack on the NDA.
That this precious legacy is being undermined daily by those who rule us today. They express disdain and contempt for Nehru, for all that he did to build the India that they are bent upon changing for the worse.
The UPA chairperson also said that the best way to safeguard Nehru's legacy was by fighting to safeguard democracy. Congress chief Rahul Gandhi too echoed the sentiments.
Today, we must honor him by fighting with determination to safeguard our democracy against those who are undermining it.
BJP hit back at the Congress, denying any attempts to undermine the legacy of Nehru.
कांग्रेस को एक घराने के बाहर कुछ नहीं दिखता, यानी वो महात्मा गांधी जी का नाम नहीं लेते, वो सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल का नाम नहीं लेते, वो नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस का नाम नहीं लेते। लोकतंत्र की बुनियाद डॉक्टर बाबा साहब आंबेडकर और पूरे घटना समिति ने, संविधान समिति ने दी।
As the political war escalated, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor added fuel once again, saying if it wasn't for Nehru, a chaiwala could not have become the Prime Minister of the country. He later clarified that it was not an insult to anyone.
If today we have a chaiwala as Prime Minister, it's because Nehru ji made it possible to create the institutional structures through which any Indian can aspire to and rise to the highest office in the land.
Amid the face-off, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his tribute to Nehru on Twitter. But the exuberance that the Modi government showed in celebrating Sardar Patel was clearly missing in Nehru's case. India's first Prime Minister, sadly, has been reduced to a political pawn in this war between the Congress and the BJP.
Pandit Nehru's 129th birth anniversary is marred by controversy. While the debate over his legacy rages on, it is past history that seems to time and again dominate present-day political discourse. So while the BJP accuses the Congress of being obsessed with one family, the latter accuses the ruling party of trying to diminish the contribution of India's first Prime Minister. With camera person Sanjay Chaudhary, Polami Saha in Delhi for India Today.
So the first big question that we are asking this evening on To The Point, it's happened before with Mani Shankar Iyer who started it, and will Shashi Tharoor's chaiwala comment backfire for the Congress? Mind you, it is election season right now, where 5 states going into election, and Shashi Tharoor once again touching the point of chaiwala, which possibly cost the Congress the election the last time around. Let's listen in from the man himself, Shashi Tharoor, in conversation with our consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai.
Let's turn to your statement on Jawaharlal Nehru on his birthday that has created a bit of a controversy, where you said very clearly, if today we have a chaiwala as Prime Minister, it is because Nehru ji made it possible to create the institutional structures through which any Indian can aspire to rise to the highest office in the land. Now the BJP is interpreting this as Shashi Tharoor demeaning the office of the Prime Minister, almost suggesting Narendra Modi owes his rise to Jawaharlal Nehru.
No, but that's absurd. First of all, I'm afraid it wasn't a terribly original comment. Others have made it before. But second and more important, in my book, The Paradoxical Prime Minister, I've expressed my admiration for the fact that Mr. Modi has climbed up from very modest origins to the highest office in the land. My point in describing Nehruji's contributions to Indian democracy is to stress that the creation of institutions being more important than individuals is what made it possible for any individual in our country to aspire to rise to the highest office. If we didn't have a democracy such as the one that Nehruji did so much to instill respect for, such a thing would not have been possible. That's really all it is. I didn't think it was a frightfully original thought because I've certainly seen it being said by others not very long ago. So I think the fuss that's being made is typical, I'm afraid, of the BJP is clutching at straws these days. They have absolutely nothing to say about their mismanagement of the economy for 4.5 years. They have no answers on the Rafale scam. They have not been able to address the astonishing price rise thanks to petrol taxes and taxes on other products. And the result now is that they want to raise non-issues in order to divert the attention of an obliging media. I'm sorry you've chosen to oblige them.
You know, you are saying that this is an attempt to distract from the real issues of the day, but it was you at the launch of your new edition of your Nehru biography who made the comment, which has been used by them. Which has been used by them to suggest that Shashi Tharoor seems to believe that India owes its democratic institutions only to Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, do you want to clarify that? Do you want to tell us? I mean, is it fair to suggest that Nehru alone among all the tall leaders of that time was solely responsible for democratic institutions in this country? Is that not giving too much importance just to an individual?
Not really, given that that individual was Prime Minister for 17 years, that Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated in January of 48 and Sardar Patel passed away in December 1950. And Nehru enjoyed an authority that was truly unparalleled in our country. There was no leader of any comparable stature. So had Nehru been so minded, he could have easily done what Nkrumah was to do in Ghana, what Kaunda did in Zambia, what Nyerere did in Tanzania. That is the great independence era heroes of the anti-colonial struggle who said we can't run our newly independent countries and direct development and preserve national unity without turning into authoritarian dictators. Nehru never succumbed to that temptation. He went out of his way instead to demonstrate his respect for the structures of democracy, to instill respect for freedoms, to show respect for the judiciary, to give Parliament with a tiny opposition importance out of all proportion to the strength of the opposition, and to insist that his cabinet and his officials did the same thing. He went out of his way to instill the habits and practices of respect for democracy in those 17 years of prime ministership, which laid the foundations for what followed. I'm not saying that everything that has happened since his death can be attributed to him, but I am saying that the platforms he laid made these things possible. But imagine if we had gone in a different direction, as so many other developing countries did, and which Nehru could have taken the country on because it was relatively simple for him to do so. If he didn't have a democratic mindset, we wouldn't have the institutions that today a man of humble origins has been able to rise up within. That's the point I was making, and everybody who's heard the entire speech heard it in that context. Nobody raised an eyebrow because it was merely an example.
Now, usually Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's birth anniversary is more about children, but this year it's all about politics. Has been for some time now, especially since the BJP came to the centre, because the Congress believes that the Bharatiya Janata Party is slowly trying to chip away at the legacy of Pandit Nehru. And that's the big question we are asking this evening. Is the BJP trying to undo Nehru's legacy, which is been said by the Congress? Let's quickly cut across to our panelists. Syed Zafar Islam from the Bharatiya Janata Party. I have Gaurav Wallabh from the Congress. And I'll cut across to you, Mr. Islam, first. Now, there are charges that have been made by the Congress. Also, many schemes, many institutions named after Pandit Nehru, which you have changed. Now, is there an attempt by the BJP, somewhere down the line, a hidden state policy to deride Pandit Nehru of his legacy?
Not at all. It's a absolutely baseless allegation made by Congress party. The only problem with Congress party that they feel that legacy should be respected only of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru or the family of Gandhi Nehru Parivar. Because they only deserve to be respected, they are the only icons of this motherland. Unfortunately, there are many other icons of this nation. And this great nation has many icons which has contributed what we see as a great nation, and they need to be recognized. And the only thing which
But does one need to? But Syed Zafar Islam, does one icon need to be pulled down to benefit the others?
Not at all. By celebrating 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi is not undermining the legacy of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. By sharing the Jawaharlal Nehru that place in Delhi where all the other prime ministers should also have some memorial, Jawaharlal Memorial should be shared by other prime minister of this country, is not undermining his contribution or his legacy. For that matter, the only submission we have here, Preeti, that Bharatiya Janata Party and India government has attempted only people who have been ignored purposely.
Okay.
I'm repeating purposely by Congress party for years. And ignore their contribution is something which we are trying to acknowledge them, giving them respect what they deserve.
All right, okay. Now, Syed Zafar Islam, before I go to Gaurav Vallabh, I'll ask you one question. You said all need to be celebrated, including possibly Jawaharlal Nehru and his legacy. Now, I just want to know, on his birth anniversary today, what is it that the Bharatiya Janata Party or the centre has done to celebrate his legacy? Has there been any function that has been organized? Because I'm really trying very hard. I can't even see a Twitter tweet by the BJP handle
See,
marking the birth anniversary of one of our tallest leaders amongst many.
See, the only problem with Congress that by the Honorable Prime Minister, when he mentioned about the contribution or the legacy of Pandit Nehru today, nobody recognized, nobody talks about it. Purely because they want to sensationalize everything. They want to make it feel that we are somehow targeting the legacy or the Nehru Parivar. But that's not the case. Fact is that we are only giving respect to everyone, including Jawaharlal Nehru and his contribution.
All right, Gaurav Vallabh, this is a figment of your imagination that somewhere down the line, the BJP is trying to deride.
5 seconds. On the floor of the parliament, the Honorable Prime Minister has acknowledged the contribution made by every single Prime Minister.
So, okay, but you still haven't answered my question, sir. What is it that the centre, the party has done to mark the birth anniversary of India's former Prime Minister, one of India's tallest icons? What is it that has been done?
So, same way I can ask, what did they do all these years for Pandit Deendayal Sharma? Did they do anything? He's the tallest leader for us.
So somewhere down the line, you are admitting that you do not, that the party does not want to give that kind of...
And criticize, they are criticizing us. We are giving respect to everyone, including Jawaharlal Nehru.
I can't see a tweet by a BJP handle. I can't see...
But can you see the Honorable Prime Minister, what he said?
Okay.
He acknowledged the contribution and legacy of the Pandit
All right, Gaurav Vallabh, this is a figment of your imagination. There is no, any propaganda there.
Preeti, the representative from BJP is admitting on air that there is no program which was done today, because we used to celebrate today as a Children's Day. What you had done on Children's Day? What was the celebration you had? What tweets you had made? What programs, new programs for children and had been launched today? I am asking a very simple question. Pandit Nehru was not only the first Prime Minister of the India, he was the one who was behind jail, who was behind bars for more than 15 years. For what purpose? For giving us the democracy, for giving us the independence, for giving us the Atma Samman of the nation. He was the person who had made the temples of modern India.
One second. Mr. Islam, you were not interrupted. I would request you to accord the same decency to your panelists.
He was the person who had designed the temples of modern India, starting from hydropower projects to IITs, to IIMs, to AIMS, to NITs. He was the person who started a focused 5-year plan, industrialization, and Preeti, PSUs, all public sector undertakings. And he was the person because of which we are interacting, because he he thought, he visionized about the ISRO, and because of that today we are able to connect to the common masses of this country.
Okay.
He can have all name change like what they are doing right now, but he focused only on governance, governance and governance. And
All right,
today
Syed
you
Zafar-
want to suppress
Syed
his
Zaf-
ideology, you will never
Okay,
be successful in
Syed Zafar
that.
Islam, why am I also saying is I'll just give you a few instances there. You know, right from something as small and menial as the Nehru jacket being now labelled the Modi jacket, to scrapping of the Planning Commission, you know, to the Nehru Memorial now, which will be open, which the government contemplates making it open for every Prime Minister there. So there have been a concerted effort by the government somewhere down the line to play down the legacy of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, you need to accept that.
Not at all. Not at all. Let me ask you a counter question. If Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial, which is situated in 14 acres of land and prime land in Delhi, if you think that the other Prime Minister, including Indira Gandhi, including many other Prime Minister of the country, have also contributed to this nation, then if their memorial is also set up besides in the same land, what does it matter? Why it has to be in 14 acres? What is the problem? I don't understand. I mean, we are giving respect to Indira Gandhi. We are giving respect to Morarji Desai. We are giving respect to Chandrasekhar. We are giving respect to many other Prime Minister the country has seen. So the only problem in the eyes of Congress, you cannot
But
equate.
at the back of that Syed Zafar Islam, do you remember the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh writing to the current Prime Minister saying by doing so, you are trying to erase what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru did for the country?
Not so. I mean, it's very unfair if somebody like Dr. Manmohan Singh makes this statement, because even his contribution will be recognized in that place. It is meant for all the other Prime Ministers. So now I'm asking you one simple question.
Okay, 1 second, let him finish. Yes.
No. If you equate other Prime Minister at par with somebody coming from Nehru Parivar, Gandhi Nehru family, then it's a problem. If you had only isolated that, okay, Indira Gandhi and Nehru will be only, that memorial will only have Nehru Memorial and Indira Gandhi Memorial, they would have not questioned. Since you are equating other simple Prime Minister coming from a simple family, they have problem. That is the problem which we want to address, and that is something which every Indian wants to address.
Okay, 1 second. Let me. Okay, Gaurav Bala wants to come in for a rebuttal, and then yes, Gaurav Bala.
Preeti, I had a very simple point. He's telling that we want to put Indira Gandhi's memories in that. Why can't you have a separate building for that? I am all in for you. Have a separate building in the memory of Atal Bihari Vajpayee Sahab. But you had something ugly in your mind, because you want to suppress the democracy which was given to us by the Pandit Nehru.
Okay.
So that is something in your mind.
I'll just Syed Zafar Islam, would you second the speech that was made? You quoted Prime Minister Modi. Now, when you're talking about Nehru Memorial at Teen Murti Bhavan, would you second the speech that was made by Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee in Parliament? I'll quote 2 lines out of that. Such a resident may never grace Teen Murti again. That vibrant personality, that attitude of taking even the opposition along, that redefined gentlemanliness. The greatness we may not again see in the future. Now, this is from your own. This is Atal Bihari Vajpayee talking about Pandit Nehru and the Nehru Memorial.
See, who doesn't want to take people along? You have to understand that I'm telling you with conviction that had it been renamed as Indira Nehru Memorial, they wouldn't have raised question. The only problem that it is being equated, the other Prime Minister are being equated along with the Nehru and Indira ji. That is the problem. That's why they have problem. And that is something which we as an Indian feel insulted.
Islam, I'd also like to add, he ends. Now, this is Atal Bihari Vajpayee's speech in Parliament, which ends with, in spite of a difference of opinion, we have nothing but respect for his great ideals, his integrity, his love for the country, and his indomitable courage. Now, it's not just the Nehru Memorial, it's the scrapping of the Planning Commission. You agree to that as well?
See, the time
there have been change of names of at least 30 institutions in this country.
No,
only on Pandit Nehru.
No, when you talk about Planning Commission, when you talk about many other hydro project, I mean things have changed. They are things of past. Things have changed. You are it's a modern nation. It's a new India.
How can
everything has everything has to change in line with the requirement. I mean, today you don't need a 5-year plan.
But Gaurav Vallabh, yes.
It's a very dynamic situation. You can't have a 5-year plan. You need to have 5-year plan was important when 50 years ago. But 5-year plan is not warranted. You need a institution like what we have today.
Okay. Gaurav Vallabh wants to come. Yes, Gaurav
I am
Vallabh.
just asking him, by changing the name from Planning Commission to Niti Aayog, what you had achieved? What you had achieved by saying that we will have all prime ministers in Nehru Memorial? Why can't you have a separate memorials for all respected and honorable prime ministers? Because you want to suppress the democracy. You want to suppress the secular idea of Pandit Nehru. You want to suppress the idea of PSU and the Swabhiman of India, which was given by Pandit Nehru. You had all ugly ideas. I am asking Preeti, in 1947, when the country got independent, Pandit Nehru was the prime minister. He can safely have all names everywhere, but he had chosen what? Instead of name changing, he focused on governance. He focused on new India, modern India, educated India, Atma Swalambi India. He had not focused on your idea of India.
All right, okay, but having said that, there's also been a fair bit of embarrassment, Gaurav Vallabh, for you, which can backfire, is in the terms of what Mr. Shashi Tharoor has said, because using Nehru as an analogy, he has embarrassed the Prime Minister.
See, today we are discussing about how BJP is consistently trying to suppress the idea of secularism and democracy given by Pandit Nehru. And their actual face is out today on TV screens. Your viewers can see that how they want to suppress every idea of secularism for which Pandit Nehru fought, for which Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi fought, for which Sardar Patel fought. It is not your people. The RSS was with the Britishers in the independence, in the fight of independence. So don't go into that. What you want to achieve? I am asking Preeti, what they want to achieve by name changing? Why can't you construct a new memorial and have the new name? You want to change every idea, every institution which was created by Pandit Nehru. You want to change it. You want to kill it. Whether it's Reserve Bank, whether it's SEBI, whether it's a Supreme Court of India, whether it's the Election Commission. What you want to achieve by doing that?
All right. So, yes, Zafar Islam coming. Yes.
All I want to say, see, I heard Dr. Gaurav Vallabh, the only thing, see, they want supremacy, they want exclusiveness, they want exclusivity, they want that these people should be seen above the nation. That will not happen. Yes, we have put a full stop to that, because there are other icons, we will equate every icons at par, and their contribution will be recognized by this nation and by our country, by our party, by our government. If you think that exclusivity shall always be there, because what you, by design you have done it, we will dismantle, we will continue to dismantle, because we will give respect to every single icon of this country, and those you have ignored and did not respect, they will get respect by our government.
Mr. Islam, I am not against having a memorial under the name of Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
You are against it.
But
what is the memorial?
To achieve by killing the idea of India, which was given by Pandit Nehru ji.
Are we removing any stuff?
What Yojana you had announced for children on Children's Day, because you want to kill this day. Whatever you will try, the people of the country are aware that Pandit Nehru spent more than 15 years behind bars for the independence of our country. He was the person, he can have all sort of name changing ideas which you are doing, but he chose that governance is over name change. He had made temples of New India. He had made ISRO. He had made IIMs, IITs. He had made PSUs. And he was the instrumental person because of which
I can't get,
Don't speak like a parrot.
All right, okay. Gentlemen, I need to close this debate. Thank you both. Thank you both for joining us. One would have hoped that possibly there would have been some commonality between India's first Prime Minister and the 14th Prime Minister, though we did have our Prime Minister Modi praise Pandit Nehru, but what we are seeing in terms of the politics around it is an entirely different story. One would have hoped that today should have been all about Children's Day and not about politics, but thank you, our viewers, for joining us. The debates, of course, will continue right here into the point.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.